I started in the entertainment business in 1926. My sister was 2 years younger than me, and the two of us did an adagio dance, which was very captivating. I wish I could do it today. And on a whim, my mother and father were watching us perform at a theater. And my father said, gee, maybe they should try for amateur night. So we tried for amateur night. We won first prize. And we went to about 10 amateur nights. We won the first prize. So then we became semi-professional because they booked us in theaters to do the act. Later on, there were some pictures shot in Philadelphia, and I was always called upon to try out, and I got it. But what fascinated me was, how do you get the people to part with 25 cents to buy a ticket in those days, 1936? And I used to dream up all kinds of stunts to do that. And by 1940, I won the exploitation contest by MGM, and I got a trip to Hollywood. 1940, I still can't get over it. And that was it. I was in the movie business. Pete Smith, I don't know if you know who he is, he did these marvelous short subjects, and he takes me to the station, and he says, anything else I could do for you before you leave? I said, yeah, get me a job at the studio so I don't have to come running back here again. He says, Jack, go back to Philadelphia, work your ass off, let them send for you, and they'll pay whatever you want. And that was very good advice.
People working in publicity, advertising and exploitation, in distribution, arranging dates and schedules, from where it is shipped to thousands of theaters, most of which are independently owned.
My dad had a little film exchange that was there by accident, and he'd been a projectionist, and he decided better off to be in the distribution business, which he learned. And but it was very, very small, very last run movies. And he said to me, I know you got these offers, but why don't you come with me and we'll build this into something very important. And I thought, well, that sounds good. So spent 4 years of my life in that. And one day I looked around, and my dad had a nice big house now, and he had it full of antiques and a big Cadillac to drive around. And I'm still living in a little row house in Philadelphia. And I said, okay, Dad, where's my percentage? And he said to me, you're very impatient. I said, no, I got 2 kids, and I have to have some decent way of living. And he said, well, I can't meet your requirements right now. So you see that door, it opened when you came in, it'll close when you leave. I said, okay, Dad. I walked up the street and I got a job, and I became a distributor.
Every one of you watching this screen, look out, because soon, very soon, the most horrifying monster menace ever conceived will be oozing into this theater.
If the opportunity came my way, I would want a monster that had never been dreamed of before, that could consume flesh on contact, and if not arrested or destroyed, would envelop the earth. The picture was in rough cut. I'm at the studio. The studio was 45 minutes away from my office. I'm at the studio for a post-production meeting, and I remember I'm leaving, and somebody came running up to the director and said, we just got this in we just got this telegram. We had called it the Glob, G-L-O-B, and we applied for copyright, and the copyright was rejected because Walt Kelly had a cartoon in the paper every day called the Glob, and we never thought about that. And I'm looking around, I said, look, did we shoot the title yet? Well, we didn't shoot it yet, but it's all ready. I said, G-L-O-B. Right. I said, all right, A-L-O-B don't spell anything. B-L-O-B, Blob. Everybody looked at me and said, perfect. It became the Blob. I thought of it. I don't care whatever you hear from anybody else. I didn't believe in reading a book and wanting to do a movie. I believed that there's enough experiences around that you can come up with an original idea and make a movie of it, which is what I stuck to.
Okay. Oh, shit.
I was at a meeting in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm in the bus station. I look over the magazine or something to read, and I see a cover of a little magazine called Weird Tales. And it shows a man walking through a wall. And I thought, that's fascinating.
Oh, no, wait, Scott. There may be side effects to this we don't know anything about. You ought to be checked by a doctor. You go. Scott, look, now leave me alone.
I got to New York, and I called Shorty. Shorty was his nickname, Gateworth. And I said, I have an idea about a movie, but I can't quite understand what's so wonderful about it. He says, I'm glad you're paying for the call. I said, he said, what's the trouble? I said, well, I saw this magazine cover, and there's a guy walking through walls. And he says, you know, that sounds like the fourth dimension. And I realized what the first, what the second, the third is length, breadth, and thickness, and the fourth is through, where the atoms of your body mingle in a flash so small you can't even measure it with the atoms and whatever you're penetrating, and that's why you could do it, if you could figure out how, without making a hole in you or the wall. So I thought, oh, 4D van, yeah.
Brian, you've got to help me.
If the 4D man were to be either a hero or a menace, then we could build something around it. Suppose he would put his hands through you, he would use up some of his life spark. By penetrating someone, he could steal their life completely and keep his own. He couldn't go back to teenage. That's the 4D man. When the picture was finished, I delivered it to Universal Pictures. They said to me, how are you going to sell this picture? And I said, very simple. I made a deal with Lloyd's of London to give $1 million to anybody who could duplicate in real life what the 4D man does in the movie. The majors hadn't woken up to the fact that with a good title and a good piece of artwork, you could fascinate people.
What happened to Dr. Waterman?
In those days, they didn't have the film festivals. They didn't have everybody running to Sundance to try and get a movie that may drop dead on them or crock them. And I became known as the guy that could fix a picture and get it out.
Equinox, a story that defies logic, confounds belief.
Equinox is an example. Dennis Murin put together a high school project, but the special effects were dynamite. And I saw the rough cut, and I thought, boy, I got to fix this picture up and get it out there.
Equinox, proving again that there is more in heaven and on earth than is dreamt of in our philosophy. Equinox! Equinox!
There was a picture called Schlock, which you mentioned.
Schlock! A beast from 20 million years ago stalks the streets of today.
I must admit that Schlock was not the success I thought it would be, and I think it was too funny and not scary enough.
Schlock! 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 Schlock!
I must explain something to you. The only thing positive is the negative. If you want the negative, There's always some place to go with it, and nobody else can go but you. So that's been my philosophy. There will always be movies made because there's people, nutty people like me that get ideas that want to make a movie and know what they're doing. I pride myself on knowing what I'm doing. The one thing I keep reading about the reduced value of old movies. And I can sit here like a champ and say, I ain't in that category. the Blob is still hot, and 4D Man we're talking about now, and these are my personal pictures, and I think the good old movies are here to stay.